Hi, friends. We're finally here. Pocket Camp Complete is out. The interesting thing is that Nintendo actually released this a day early. You may have noticed, potentially, if you were paying attention to like social media, or maybe you're in the Pocket Camp Discord, I'm in there, that Nintendo announced, I believe it was like Sunday or something, a couple of days ago, that they were releasing it on the 2nd of December instead of the 3rd of December, like it was originally going to come out. It was a rolling release. Unfortunately, if you're like me and use iOS devices, you were refreshing the App Store constantly waiting for it to show up. I had pre-ordered the app, and that means that like because I did that, it was waiting to be able to download. It just said it was coming soon. My phone was going to notify me when it was ready to go, and it would automatically download to my device and I'd be able to play it. Kind of like when you pre-order a game that's digital. So around I think like 11 o'clock Sunday night Eastern time was when I was able to play the game. A lot of other people got it earlier. Specifically, if you're an Android player, you could play it earlier. I believe the rollout started at about midnight Universal time, which is like 7 p.m. Eastern time. I overall like the app a lot. I think that it definitely has the good feel of what Pocket Camp was, but there are some things that I think could be tweaked a bit, specifically when it comes to events. The good things, though, is that everything refreshes at the new day reset, which right now currently is 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. Once we go back into daylight time in March, that daily reset will be 2 a.m. Eastern because Japan does not observe daylight saving time happening. So like the server reset, essentially, I believe will stay the same. The 3-hour rotation of animals is also the same. However, the quarry as well as the fortune cookies also reset at new day. They don't reset at an arbitrary time for rotation. The quarry does not reset twice a day. So whatever you have in the quarry at your new day reset is what you're going to have all day. And this is actually a good thing because that means that when you talk to friends at Whistle Pass, which is how you get help for the quarry, you can enter it multiple times a day. I've had essence as well as wood in my quarry so far, and today when I'm showing you this footage, it is reissue materials, which is great because that means that I can stock up on them to get them for crafting older items that I may have missed. You talk to 3 friends, you can ask them in Whistle Pass to help you. It's at random whether or not you can ask them, and also whether or not they can help. I have run into a situation where a friend has said no to helping. I don't know why. I don't know if that's because I already asked them and they did that or whatever, but it is a good thing because you can enter the quarry multiple times a day just by getting the 3 people to help you. It's fairly simple. Friends will also occasionally give you gifts. We are under the impression right now that this gift giving resets at new day as well. I don't know if there's actually any data to support that, but so far that seems to be what has been happening. And of course, you have the option to pick a camp caretaker, just like if you had subscribed to the Pocket Camp Club thing. Regarding the Leaf tokens, which replaced Leaf tickets as a quote-unquote premium currency, Nintendo is surprisingly very generous with this. If you look at the seasonal reward thing in your planner for the monthly events, you get quite a bit as well now with the complete tickets too. I don't know if this is going to be a thing that happens every month or if it's only going to go until the new events that they have planned through 2025 or what have you. We do know that the events are going to repeat on a 4-year cycle, so I'm under the impression that this generosity with the complete tickets and Leaf tokens are going to just be what happens every month. The pricing for things have gone down a lot for Leaf tokens. A couple of them are still kind of pricey in my opinion, like the bigger premium items, but the fortune cookies are way cheaper. Some of the other premium items like the scarves and accessories or clothing or little items are also cheaper. The bigger ones though, in my opinion, are about probably what you would see, maybe halved actually, from Leaf tickets. I think the trees, I can't remember what they cost, the Christmas trees, they must have been probably like $250 or $300 Leaf tickets. They were expensive. So it's not necessarily surprising to me to see them at this amount of money, but whatever, you're not paying for it. You don't have to buy Leaf tokens because the $10, which the app is on sale for right now in the US for $10 until the end of January, or $20 US that you may pay, or whatever your currency is, you get the whole complete game. You can also pay Leaf tokens to permanently shorten your crafting times. The crafting time shortening was also a thing that was included in the Pocket Camp Club, although this time it's purely optional. I don't know how I feel about this. I kind of wish that it was just included, but you do get a lot of Leaf tokens from the very start. Assuming that you transferred your data over when you started, which is very simple. It asks you right away upon opening the app for the first time if you want to transfer your data. All you have to do is sign into the Nintendo account that you linked your data to, and then it's right there. It just downloads and you're good. Assuming you did that, you will have already completed all of the beginner goals from way back when you first started the game in like the original Pocket Camp, and that will automatically net you 330 leaf tokens. You get more leaf tokens by doing stretch goals and, like we said, doing the monthly seasonal events. You can also exchange bells for leaf tokens. You can do this 5 times per month, and it's 10,000 bells per 20 leaf tokens, which honestly works out to be pretty decent. You get 100 leaf tokens by paying like 50,000 bells, and you can make bells really easy in this game just by playing, or if you want to use the bell maps, which still exist. Leaf tokens have also been added to Gulliver Islands, even like the old ones that you may have already completed. Something that is very, very cool is that you can download custom designs from New Horizons and use them in this game. If you're interested in any custom sweaters, I've made a ton. My creator code is down below for my custom designs. That is for my account that is on Fawn, my main island. My second island, Kringle, I've not made any designs there. I don't think I'm going to. I'm probably just going to download everything from the internet. I don't know if you need to have a Nintendo Online subscription in order to use this feature in Pocket Camp. It wanted me to log into my Nintendo account, and I do have the online. I have a family plan with my boyfriend, so I'm not quite sure if you need online. If any of you have tried this and you do not have Nintendo Online, please comment down below. I'm really interested to see if this will actually work. But it is very neat. You can download designs to use as custom paths or standees, anything really, in addition to the clothing. I honestly think this is a great feature, and it adds a nice little integration into the Switch game, which was very surprising to see. I do hope, though, that this doesn't mean that the next Animal Crossing is going to be a multi-platform thing that relies on having a mobile device. Personally, I'd rather the next mainline Animal Crossing just be console only. If you think differently, I would love to hear that. Regarding a couple of things that I would tweak, though, purely in my opinion, they really need to do an update to the garden events specifically. The fishing tourney and the Gyroidite scavenger hunt, yes, they're called Gyroidites in this game, not gyroids, are neither here nor there because you're not relying on friend help. But for the garden events, you used to be able to share creatures with friends. Right now, the game will let the AI basically share creatures on behalf of friends with you. And because this is a completed version of the app, there's no limit on trades. So for example, with the flowers, how you would trade for items, there used to be a cap on the amount of flower food fertilizer that you could get per garden event. Now that doesn't seem to be the case. It doesn't say that there's like X amount of times left. I did trade for some flower food fertilizer, but now I'm keeping the rest of my flowers for the second half of the event, which starts tomorrow, which is when this video is also going out. That's the other thing too, is that the garden event used to be about 10 days long and now it's 7 days. I don't know if that's specific to this month because we started with a 5-day gap between the end of service for the main Pocket Camp free-to-play and now this new paid complete app. I don't know if that's because of the weird little stretch of time that we went without Pocket Camp, or if that's just a thing they're going to do every month where the garden event is just going to be 7 days long. I think that if they're going to do it that way, they need to up the amount of seeds that you get by doing villager requests. Right now, they're really skimping on it, and the only way you can get seeds is to buy them other than doing requests. And I've never really had to buy seeds from the garden until this month, because I always would either have my camp caretaker do the requests, which would net me seeds, or I would do the requests by using Pete's delivery service, which is the same thing. It nets you seeds. This time I've only been getting like 1 or 2 seeds from my villagers, and I believe I've gotten them in gifts from friends as well, and even a couple of creatures from friend gifts, which is very helpful. That and the fact that since this is the completed version of the app, and since we do not have friends to help us with building our garden for the event, it will be nice to also up the percentage of catch rate. I think that for me so far, I've had pretty decent luck, knock on wood, so hopefully it'll just continue. I've never struggled to complete a garden event personally until like the very first one actually, which was the Rover one, but everybody struggled to complete that because Nintendo just had no idea what they were doing, and surprisingly they listened to the mountains of feedback that we all gave them and tweaked the way the garden events worked. I don't know, these are just my thoughts on the garden event specifically. I am gonna do another video on this either at the end of this month or in January or something after the new year where we will talk about my first impressions of the first month overall. Since we're only a couple of days in, this is just what I think right now. Whistle Pass is really cool. I do like that I can see my friends as well as any buddies that they may have as their camp caretakers. The KK concerts are also really cute, so that's something nice to enjoy. And it's interesting that they happen every single night instead of every Saturday like they do in New Horizons. Regarding transferring your data to another device, this is also fairly easy. You can do this from the start screen where it says about data transfer or whatever that little button is at the bottom. It will walk you through what you need to do. It's simple. You just have to make sure that you're logged into your Nintendo account and say that you want to save your data. This will store your data for 7 days and you can then transfer it to a new device. Like say you got a new phone, or if you want to transfer it to your tablet and play on your tablet for a bit, you can only transfer data once every 24 hours. So if I were to do this right now on my phone and save my data, I wouldn't be able to save it again until like the next day, 24 hours later. In theory, you can use this to switch between two devices that you have currently with the same Nintendo account. I have not tested it out yet, but I don't see why this wouldn't work considering that you're just storing the data in your account and then putting it on the other device. I had said originally in my most recent video where I advanced the storyline in Kringle, my second island, that I was going to play this on my iPad, but I decided to start it off on my phone. There's a chance that I will probably transfer it over to my iPad at some point, but right now I think I'm personally okay with playing it on my phone because I am visually impaired. I struggle to see some of the smaller screen elements, but if that's really the case, I will just try to like zoom in or something and it's not the end of the world. Overall, I think Nintendo has been very generous in what they gave us to be able to use in this completed version of the app. If you want a watered down version of Animal Crossing to play, like maybe you don't have a Switch, or maybe you want to tide yourself over for the next generation of the game, which might not be for another few years, this is definitely something for you to get. It's fairly reasonably priced in my opinion, and if you have Google Play credit or like an App Store gift card, you can use that towards this game as well. Rating this out of 5, I would maybe give it like a 4.5, only because I think that they need to tweak the garden event like we talked about earlier, and this is probably just a me thing, but I'm a little sick of the tiny notifications telling me to look at Whistle Pass or use my leaf tokens to shorten something with Cyrus's quick craft thing. I do like that that's a permanent thing you can do though, it doesn't go away, so that's at least good. If you do use your tickets to make something craftable like immediately, like if you tap on the individual item and use your tickets to like make it done right then and there, that's specific to that item and to that crafting time on the bench. Tapping on Cyrus will give you the option to use the quick craft permanently, which is great, but again, it would have been nice if it was either a little cheaper or just something that was included because it was already a Pocket Camp Club feature. Let me know what you think down below if you've played Complete yet, what your initial thoughts are. I'm going to put my friend code up here on the screen, the little QR, as well as the photo version, I guess. You can also add a friend from photo. You don't have to use the QR scanner, but if you want to add me in your game, maybe I'll show up in your Whistle Pass and give you gifts or something. Anyway, these are my initial thoughts on Pocket Camp Complete. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Maybe you're going to play the game too, or maybe you're not. Let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave any comments, feedback, and suggestions, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!